The worst home loss of his career on his 82nd birthday. That's saying a lot. Because Jerry's first year owning the Cowboys was 1989, and they were 1-15, and they finished in 5th place in the NFC East. You can't even do that. There is no 5th place in the NFC East. And they were terrible. And that, yesterday, was a worse home loss. They may be shrewd doing business off the field, but they were shameful on the field. The NFL has gotten smarter over the last decade. More good coaches, more sharp executives, and the Cowboys, along that same timeline, have become much more insular. The only team in the NFL with an 82-year-old GM. Wink, wink. And he's not firing Mike McCarthy. He's not going to do that. We'll get to that in a second, but that's not going to work. The Detroit Lions, though, yesterday were everything the Cowboys want to be. Deep, tough, clever, fun, capable at quarterback. Nobody's massively overpaid. In fact, I'd argue many of their best players are right now under market value. They were everything the Cowboys want to be. In fact, their O-line, the Lions' O-line, had 2 touches and a target. I'm not like talking about falling on a fumble. These were intentional. They were going to embarrass the Cowboys. It was like the Chiefs against the Saints. They were messing around, flexing for the TV audience after that Cowboy win shouldn't have over Detroit last December. So, I mean, what you were watching was embarrassing. That was embarrassing. And I said it going into the season. I can't take the Cowboys seriously. We can't take a team seriously with an 82-year-old owner/GM. Too many Joneses in the front office. You need outside influence and eyeballs and voices. They're not a Super Bowl team. They're not close to it. And the truth is, they won 12 games. The last 2 years, previous to this one, the NFC's been down. Green Bay got rid of Aaron Rodgers in a very quick rebuild with a young quarterback. And the Lions were good for a couple years. But now all those young players are no longer young. The Niners ended up finding Brock Purdy, who just keeps getting better. You know, you start looking at Washington now is a real football team. Minnesota. Chicago's got Caleb Williams. It was there for the taking the last 2 years in the NFC. It was there. The Rams were rebuilding. The Packers were too young. Chicago didn't have the quarterback. Minnesota was trying to draft the quarterback. Now the NFC at the top can play with the AFC. And Dallas won 12 games, but the more Jerry dabbles in football, the sadder January becomes for Dallas. You can't be an owner/GM. That's just not the way it works. Jerry's running the franchise the way he wants to, not the way it should be run. The way it should be run is San Francisco, so you can find Brock Purdy with the last pick. Or in Philadelphia, where they have a loaded roster and yet always have money to spend. That's the way it should be run. Or like Kansas City or Baltimore. Why does Baltimore always have so many good players that they can move off great ones and the next year they're just fine? Dallas right now, hey, Dak got the bag, and Cowboy fans are left holding it. Here was Jerry on testy tete-a-tete with the media in regards to potentially replacing Mike McCarthy.
What would it take you to evaluate making a head coaching change in season?
I haven't even considered that. I'm not considering that. Just so you're clear, I'm not considering that.
But you've done it.
I wouldn't be a hypothetical in that matter. Do you think I'm an idiot? Do you?
Now let's move to a brighter conversation. I know. The Bears are just beating bad teams. Yeah, they're kind of thumping them. I know they've just beaten the Titans, Carolina, a short-handed L.A. Ram team, and the dysfunctional Jags. Okay, you could say that. But for the first time, and I'm not joking, in my life, I look at the Bears and I say, man, what a deep, talented offensive roster. What a stud they have at quarterback for the next 15 years. Yeah, that I've never said in my life. I'm 3 receivers I like. Keenan Allen came back. An excellent tight end. A clever running back. The O-line's fine. It's not Detroit or Atlanta, but it's fine. And Caleb Williams, he's getting better every week. I mean, he's gone from kind of frenetic to foundational. If you go back, our guys did this morning, and I'm sorry to the radio audience, but Caleb Williams, if you go week 1, his passer rating was 55. 2 weeks later, it was 80. A week after that, it was 106. A week after that, it was 126, 124. He's found his footing. Reckless to in control. Questions to confident. And in fact, my biggest concern, seriously, for the Chicago Bears, and I bet it's theirs, it's not the Bears, it's the division. Minnesota looks like they could hoist a trophy. Green Bay's just, now that Jordan Love's ready to roll, that was our pick of the weekend. I mean, that game was over in 10 minutes with Arizona. I mean, Detroit has the best offensive line, 2 capable running backs, a star receiver, a coach in Dan Campbell the team loves. Jared Goff's been to Super Bowls. Like, I think Chicago's, for years and years, Chicago's biggest liability was the Bears, their ownership, their front office, their coaches. I mean, even Matt Eberflus, you can bang on him all you want, but he's good on his side of the ball. At least he knows his side of the ball. Go look at Dennis Allen with the Saints. He can't even get the defensive side right, and he's a defensive coach. So, I mean, I look around, they have the franchise quarterback. They run, I mean, seriously, this sounds embarrassing. They run a modern offense. They've got multiple weapons. Some of them young, going to be around a while. They made a smart move to get DJ Moore, and they nailed the quarterback pick. For the record, this is what the good teams in the AFC did. Baltimore got their quarterback right. Kansas City got their quarterback right. Buffalo got their quarterback right. Houston got their quarterback right. You get that right, folks, you can miss on a coach. You got to get the quarterback right. And I don't think there's any question when you launch those weapons. You got to give their GM credit too. Ryan Poles is a guy, he's a former offensive lineman, and he has spent the money. This forever was a defensive culture like Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh still can't get out of its own way. It spends all its money on defense. Ryan Poles came out and said, no. We're going to spend our money on offense. That's where the league's going. And he was right. And they get DJ Moore, and they get Keenan Allen, and a second tight end, and Swift the running back. Like, this is a really big-time offensive group. You insert Keenan Allen into this thing, Rome Odunze, DJ Moore, Cole Kmet, Swift, Keenan Allen. It's like, whoa, they got dudes everywhere. It is for real. You can open up the entire playbook because Caleb is so electric, so dynamic. But the difference is he's not a guy that can't throw from the pocket. He did that at USC. What did we say coming into the season? He can be a little bit. You got to sometimes rein him in because he's so gifted. Lamar Jackson faced this first couple years, so gifted that his natural inclination, if the first receiver's not open, is to take off and run. But on multiple times yesterday in London, and I hope you noticed this, I'm sure you did. Did you watch Caleb on multiple times look left, look middle, look right, look back left? That's a franchise quarterback. Looked all over the field, trying to find the right guy. He threw to the 4th or 3rd option multiple times. A lot of great athletic quarterbacks, first one's not open as rookies, they're off to the races. And he now, over the 4 or 5 weeks, he was in the first couple of weeks. Here we are in week 5. Here comes week 6. You got yourself a stud, and here's Caleb after.
You know, we got to keep getting better. I can't turn the ball over like that in a wide open touchdown to DJ. You know, a few things that are going on throughout the game, you know, that I got to be better at. But I think the progress that we've had is going to keep growing. I think we have great leaders and a great personality to this team that I've talked about many times. And so I think all that's going to keep growing. I think we got to keep going.
Yeah, how about that division? Vikings, Packers, Lions, Bears. When's the last time you had a division? I can't think of it. When is the last time that you had a division with 4 of the top 8 offensive teams in the league? I mean, that is crazy. That is not only the best division in football, it is the best division in football by a mile. It's incredible how good. Jordan Love, Caleb, Sam Darnold, J.J. McCarthy behind him, and Jared Goff. And by the way, the best offensive line in Detroit. I would say Green Bay and Chicago, I mean, and Minnesota have some of the best tight end wide receiver groupings in the league. So I think the Bears' biggest adversary isn't themselves. I don't think for the first time ever offensively, it's not them or their ownership. It's like a real division. By the way, the NFC North has the 4 best point differentials in the league. All 4. Bears, Lions, Vikings, Packers. The 4 best point differentials in the league. They're all in one division. It's like the SEC on steroids. I mean, it's crazy how